team will help you to prepare the car, to manage the car, to make sure it's optimal every session. But when it's racing, you are the one who's doing the job. Why Indonesia? It's so hard because racing or motorsport is not an industry. When you're living, if you're not learning at all, I don't think what's the worth of living, you know?
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Raffles Jakarta Podcast Corner. So today episode marks our second release, and after the excitement of our launch, we talked with the podcast team. Shout out to the team. And today we decided to shift gears and bring you a conversation that explores ambition, discipline, and the business engine behind one of the world's fastest profession, motorsports. So our guest today is Senna Iriawan. Hi! A professional racing driver, instructor, international business graduate, and one of Indonesia's fastest men on track. So let's dive in. Hi Senna, thank you so much for joining us today.
Pleasure to be here.
Many people only see the cars and trophies, but racing is a full-blown industry, right? So from your
Yeah.
experience, what are the key business elements involved in building a racing career?
I mean, racing itself is a lot of aspects. If you see it in a racing driver's point of view, a lot of people just see it as okay. You just need to have a skillful mental training, and you need to know where the pedals is. That's it. But no, actually, racing is much more complex than that. I mean, racing itself, you need to have a good mentality, discipline. You need to have a good personal branding as yourself and as well for the team as well, because as you know, a lot of the racing teams right now, I mean, nowadays, it's not only sole sponsored, it's always sponsored by other various parties. Like, for example, maybe fashion industries, maybe there is as well oiling company, all those others, other big companies that are willing to support racing
I see.
in general in a term.
Okay. Well, I think before we jump to the second question, you can see here. Maybe you can explain what this suit
Okay.
is.
So this suit is called a Nomex racing suit.
Oh, I see.
A Nomex racing suit. Nomex is actually the fabric of the suit. So it's a fire resistant suit. So
wow.
it can't be ignite in flame within 5 hours.
I
So if you wear this and all of a sudden your car is on fire, you will be okay for 5 hours. But after 5 hours, you will be burned. So this is practically for safety. So yeah, and this normally a racing suit is right now it's fully printed.
Yes.
So there is no more like batches. It's all printed,
I see.
and you can custom your own design. You can
okay.
use every color you want, and yeah, mainly you have sponsors. Normally in business, racing suit is also a business. So the bigger the logo in your suit, the bigger the sponsor is.
Oh, I
The
see.
bigger the money
Interesting.
in the sponsors.
Interesting. I think we're also gonna talk about
Yeah.
that later. So let's move on to the second question. I know that you're not just a driver; you're also a coach, an instructor, and a brand. So I'm curious, how do you balance these roles? Like, what have you learned about leadership and personal branding through them?
I mean, leadership wise, because as a racing driver, you're racing for yourself. So you need to have a good leadership. I mean, it's a teamwork as if you have a racing team, but as a racing driver, you are the one who's racing. It's not that the team will help you to prepare the car, to manage the car, to make sure it's optimal every session. But when it's racing, you are the one who's doing the job. So you need to have a good leadership in that. And coming to the other question is, how do I manage stuff? I mean, on my busy schedules is it's mainly because I think I've been racing since the age of 7. So
Yeah.
it's been this is
Wow.
my 21 years in racing industry at the moment. So I think it's just discipline, and it already become a good habit of mine where I can split time, I can multitask,
Yes.
and yeah, and make sure that everything goes well. Yeah.
Okay, I see. Wow, it's such an honor for our first guest on our podcast having you here.
Thank you so much.
So as I research, you've raced in the Philippines, China,
Yeah.
Italy. So how does this international motorsport networks operate behind the scenes? I think people want to also know that. And I think, what does it take to stay globally competitive?
I think when you're talking about racing in a global scale. I mean, it's always different when you compare national, Asian, and world championship. The world for sure have much more branding than the Asian championship. Because normally, like if you race in the world championship, there will always be a global brand, a brand that you will for sure know. In Asia, maybe you will have a brand that maybe Asian people would know. Like normally in Asia, a lot of the biggest sponsors are Chinese, basically a Chinese company. Aside from anything else, could be IT company, could be insurance, could be all various kind of company. Because racing itself is not a cheap sport.
True.
Where you need to have big sponsors, and for people to sponsors, they need to understand what is racing business in general. Once they understand that, it will be a bigger understanding and as well a bigger opportunity for other companies to invest within racing.
I see. So interesting because you talk about sponsorship,
Yeah.
how this is not a cheap sport also. So then motorsport is often labeled as one of the expensive sport, right?
Yes.
So maybe you can share your thoughts on the financial side, like how sponsorship work or
Okay.
how funding is structured for racers at different levels. I heard there's also like levels
Yeah.
too.
I mean, racing as an individual or as a sport, it's always a very competitive place. It's like racing is extreme sport. It's very competitive. Why? Because I think throughout generations, country always produce good racing drivers, and to keep yourself up in this loop, you need to make sure that you work very hard for it. And talking about sponsors, I mean, why? Especially we're talking. I can only talk in Indonesia because this is maybe the country that I race with for over 20 years. Why Indonesia? It's so hard because racing or motorsport is not an industry. As you can see, soccer is an industry in Indonesia. Badminton is an industry in Indonesia. That's why a lot of the big company is willing to support and to sponsor and to burn money within those kind of sports. Why not racing? Because it haven't become an industry. I think once racing has already become an industry, it would be so much better for racing itself. And yeah, I think it will be a growth of motorsport that people will witness in the future.
I see. Okay. So, I mean, since we are also known for a fashion uni, and maybe this would be interesting for them to also hear. Maybe you can tell us more sponsorship, exclusive contract with brands, and like maybe when you're having a race or something and you need to use a specific
Yeah.
brand.
So
maybe?
at the moment, I'm BA in a certain of places. Like I'm a BA for a racing oil, Liquimoli. I'm
I
the BA of the
see.
German racing oil. And as well, I'm also the brand representative and the brand ambassador of Radical Indonesia.
Yeah.
Radical is actually from UK. It's a prototype factory car. So it's like BMW or Mercedes.
I see.
It's a factory where they create cars, but Radical only create racing cars. So I'm the BA in Asia and in Indonesia.
Also
And-
interesting. I also came to one of radical testing.
Yeah. The
drive-thru.
simulation.
That was actually
Yeah.
really interesting.
Yeah, we do a lot of simulation. Why? Because it's again to make the sport so people can realize that there is actually racing in Indonesia and there is actually this prototype race in Indonesia. Why simulation? Because it's the easiest place for you to get racing. It's not expensive. You only need maybe like a couple of $5,000 to $600,000 to create those kind of things. Aside compared to the real racing, I mean, real racing costs so much more compared to simulation. So why there is a simulation is at first is because so that people that are unsure are they going to become a racing driver or not, so they don't spend so much. So they can just spend, okay, I can just practice in simulator. If I like it, I continue. But if I don't, you can find other things in life that you want to pursue.
I see. I remember how heavy
Yeah,
was
it
the.
is. Yeah, because it's the simulation itself. It's created to be. The similarity level is about 60 to 70%. The rest 30% is due to the heat, the G-force, and the competitiveness inside. I mean, in the simulation, you won't have that. You won't have people crashing into
I
you.
see.
And yeah, you can't crash the car. If you crash, you just restart. I mean, those kind of things. That's why the simulation is a bit more cheaper than the actual race. Yeah.
that was really fun
Yeah.
experience though. Okay, so next maybe let's talk about the influence of digital presence in sports today.
Okay.
And maybe you can tell us like how important is storytelling, content creation in this industry, media exposure, and sustaining a racing career?
I think especially I think it's not only for racing.
Mm.
Nowadays, I mean, aside from like uh athletes, I mean athletes is not only racing.
Mm.
Athlete can be like basketball player. There's various types of athlete. I mean,
Mhm.
maybe back in the day before the existence of social media, they are just mainly very focused in what they do. But right
Mm.
now they need to multitask. They need to
Mm.
have as well that exposure, that awareness of from the public's eyes.
Mm.
It happens as well in racing. It's actually a bit funny because I didn't realize that this kind of regime would happen in racing, because racing is like, it's dangerous for you to multitask, especially when you're racing, because you need to have 100%
Focus
focus
on
all the
that, yeah.
time. But again, yeah, this is now the life that racing drivers live in. So, and for Formula as well, the highest racing you can go or you can see is Formula One. I mean, again, Formula One, they don't only find talented drivers. They need to find drivers that can market, that can sell their products or services.
Interesting. I
So
see.
yeah, media really grow in a way that it's a win-win for the team as well for the drivers. Because the drivers, maybe why media is very important for me is because after you're no longer a racing driver, when you have this media contract, your name would always still be there, you know?
There, yeah.
You can grow. Maybe if you want to make something new business in life after you retire from racing, it's possible. I mean, there's the existence of media, especially when you're already popular, maybe in media. That is one of the for me the winning aspects when you come to media.
Because of that, you're also building your own personal
Yes,
branding
personal
too.
branding.
I
Yeah.
see. Okay. So, you've carried the Indonesian flag across tracks around the world, and I think this is what I really want to know. Like, what unique challenges or opportunities do Indonesian athletes like you face in the global motorsports arena?
I mean, per se, if you're talking about once you made it, once you win either in Asia or in the World Championship,
Uh-huh.
you will feel for sure very proud,
Hmm.
because the country Indonesia,
True.
as especially, has never been heard. Maybe in Europe, maybe they heard Indonesia in Europe, but like they heard Bali for sure,
Nah.
but not Indonesia as a term of Indonesia. So, well, once I win Asian and I compete in the world after quite a good achievement in the World Championship as well, I feel quite proud to be able to expose. I mean, the country Indonesia to the world of motorsport, because again, motorsport has always been an industry for the European people. There's a lot of good Italian drivers or a lot of good Spanish drivers, those kind of things. So bringing the name of Indonesia
There's a
is an
specific
honor.
feeling
Yeah,
on it
it's an
because you're
honor.
bringing
Yeah,
your own country.
yeah.
I see. Wow. So you've also developed training programs, as you mentioned
Yes.
before, and coach aspiring racers in Indonesia. So, what do you think needs to be improved in Indonesia's motorsport ecosystem to better support your talent?
I think for me, for motorsport to grow, again, it's not only about the programs that a racing driver teach. It's also about uh, I want racing in Indonesia, especially, to become industry, or even motorsport Indonesia. I mean, the motorbike racing has become an industry for me, because as you can see, the motorbike and the four wheel is very different. The motorbike have a very good direct big investment and big sponsors, like real from the like Yamaha, Honda. They support this kind of things because why? It's business, because the biggest selling of a motorcycle product in the world is Indonesia.
I see.
That's why they are not, they would be happy to sponsor Indonesian if they have a race. That's why I think a lot Indonesian racing driver, if they don't know either four wheel or two wheel, a lot of people would just go with two wheels, because yeah, you can get the sponsors. I mean, it's a lot easier for you as well. I mean, this is what I'm trying to grow in the motorsport for the four wheel. I hope that in the future, it will be recognized in the future. It will be an industry, so that the motorsport of the four wheel can also grow, because we have so much talented racing drivers at the moment that we are developing
I
in
see.
general in a term.
So do you see like a growing interest in motorsports in Indonesia, and like
Yes.
how can industries or brands in Indonesia collaborate more with athletes like you to create mutual value?
Oh, when you're talking about brands, Indonesian brands, I mean, uh, like for example, I have an inner suit for inside of this thing.
Oh, there's another
There's another
suit.
inner. So the inner, I had an agreement where, as a racing driver, especially as an Indonesian racing driver, you also need to be able to popularize the Indonesian market. So you don't need to always like wear like Nikes, Adidas, those kind of things. So I'm wearing actually, it's an Indonesian company where they printed inner suits. So my actual jersey is made actually from Bandung. So it's Alha. It's a company where it's a small company where they are actually printing motorsport brands. So yeah, I'm trying to make sure that, especially in the competitive world of motorsport, that you can as well be proud that, oh, we actually made something as well. It's not only you can make
Yeah,
good
yeah, yeah,
inners.
yeah.
We have good designers, we have good copies and everything. So it's been pretty good.
So you're also using a local also.
Yes,
Yeah?
as well, for sure.
I see. Okay, interesting. I think the topic about this racing is very interesting. I mean, for me, who I have a limited knowledge about this, that's why it's really interesting talking about it. And maybe we can shift to more education,
Yeah.
business wise. You studied international business,
Yes.
and while building your career on the track, in what ways has your education influenced your approach to racing and coaching or managing your own brand?
I think I think in life it always interconnect. Whatever the education is, whatever racing, I can always apply what I learned from racing in my university. I can always apply what I learned in racing in my daily life. So I think the biggest key factors I learned in racing is that you will first, for me, this is my own saying. I mean, for me, I will always for sure fail in this world. I think for me, I would love to fail a lot more rather than succeeding, because when you fail, you practically
Learn
improve.
something.
When you improve, you become the better version of yourself. So this is what I always thought to myself whenever I'm racing, or I'm learning in university or in other places. So I think it's always, education has been a role where, I think when you're living, I think this happens for everyone. I mean, when you're living, if you're not learning at all, I don't think what's the worth of living, So
I think this should be the highlight of the video, guys. I think I need that right there.
So yeah.
Okay, so maybe let's bring it closer to home. Our listener includes students and professionals who might be exploring also business education. I'm also still learning in business administration. So, why do you think business knowledge is really important for people pursuing careers in sport or entertainment?
I think knowledge is important. Not only business knowledge, but all knowledge is important. I mean, I think as a person, you always have a filter in life where it's the positive and the negative kind. And I think with business, it's always like, there will always be two types of business knowledge. It will be the positive type, it will be negative type. Doesn't mean like the negative type is negative business, but maybe, for example, I'm pursuing motorsport business, and for me it's positive. But if I heard like, oh, there's another business regarding property, maybe it's not my thing. So I think, nah, I'd rather stick with the thing that I know the most. But doesn't mean that I wouldn't want to learn about it. So talking about learning or business in general, I actually just created like an IP digital firm where it's called Sequoia Speed Society.
I see.
It's a digital firm where we actually pull racing drivers from the game, from the PCs.
Oh, wow.
To create what? To create a more understanding in the future that anyone can become a racing driver. So racing driver is not catered only for the rich. It's not catered only for male. It's also for female. So this kind of sport is never catered to one segment. It's for everyone.
It's for everyone.
And for me, it's never too late to start.
So imagine just starting on playing on your PC
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
you're choosing to
And
actually
then
can become one.
and then you are actually good. I mean, nobody knows unless if you still have the urge to learn, everything will be fine.
So that's why you made that to give opportunities
Yes.
to people like that. I see. That's really interesting. So maybe if you had a chance to speak to students considering the business management programs, maybe
Oh, yeah.
at Raffles Jakarta,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
would
yeah.
you say to them? I mean, business in general.
I think with business, for me, I always follow trend.
Hmm.
You need to follow the trend.
That's really important. Yeah.
And the thing is, business is also about inspiration.
Mhm.
If you're talking about leadership, like entrepreneurship, like I don't know, I'm the type of person who likes to build something out of myself. So for me, I need to find inspiration, and inspiration you can find it everywhere. For me, I think the moment I stop having inspiration is the moment I stop accepting feedback from other people. Regardless if the feedback is important or unimportant. But again, sometimes you might never know when your brain works. But sometimes my brain sometimes works all the time. So I think a lot of this inspiration comes from everywhere. I mean, like business wise, you need to know, like, for example, you're in fashion market, or you're trying to develop a fashion brand. I mean, it's again, everything is about the trend. What is, for example, this year's trend is like cargo pants or something. And how about next? What's next? Will it be always the same? And as well, I mean, fashion in general, especially in racing. I mean, racing suit. I mean, we would never know. Maybe in 10 years' time, the suit would be a suit and tie. It won't be this racing suit. Maybe it'll be like latex or something. It'll
Because
be
of
like
the
rubber.
trend
Maybe
later,
the
yeah?
trend. Or maybe because it's fashion. I mean, for example, this, it looks okay in a term, but compared to like red carpet fashion, this looks off. I mean, yeah, this looks off. I mean, how can you manage to make this racing suit like a Dior brand, or like, yeah, you need someone who can create something good with this kind of things. And I think a lot of the teams in racing, especially right now, they collaborated with fashion because especially in racing and motorsport, the supporters, they don't only see the cars, they see the racing drivers, what they wear. So that's why I think as a racing driver, you need to become an icon. Why? Because you might be someone's idol. Someone is idolizing you.
influence on
It's a
them,
big
yeah?
influence. So that's why I think it's a good thing to see, like, I mean, I love to see the fashion side of the Formula One team of AlphaTauri because they create their own thing. I mean, this is a segment where, whoa, they are creating things that other people haven't created. Mercedes, they're using Adidas. Red Bull, they're using Castore or something. It's this new brand. I mean, I think it will be so much more interesting for me, like, they create their own brand. This is amazing. And I think the first team who ever done that is AlphaTauri. They even created in the website AlphaTauri Fashion. So they are trying to mimic that. Okay, everyone can design my suit. Like for me, for I think next year's race, because every year a racing driver, they change their helmet.
I see.
So next year, my helmet, I'll put it online in the media. I will pick, for example, like 4 to 5 designers. You can design each of the panel,
Oh, I see.
and then I will paint it as your design.
Oh.
So I'm trying to as well interact with the public. So racing is not only about style. Okay, it's about style, but my favorite color is yellow. My helmet has always been yellow. And how can this yellow look like black, or how can this yellow looks meaner? I mean, yellow is like a happy color. How can the yellow be as forceful as the red? This is the thing that I think in fashion maybe can make a big impact as well on racing. I mean, I think teams nowadays in Formula One, especially, I mean, I love the blue of the Red Bull. It looks sharp. The red of the Ferrari looks mean, looks fast. I mean, that is colors that maybe a fashion student will understand. I mean, color is a feeling. Maybe I'm not sure. I'm not a fashion student, but maybe color is a feeling. But yeah, I think that's why for me education is important. You know,
Okay.
I mean, this kind of things. Without education, you won't know this. Without education, I don't think you will succeed in life. Doesn't mean that education is only for the people that have money, but aside from you have the possibility to attend school or not. But if you have the urge to learn, I think you will make it in life. So
Okay. I see.
that is the main point.
Maybe this is perfect for the last question. Maybe you can give advice. Like, what advice would you give people about turning passion into a sustainable career, like where you are right now?
I think it's the same thing for me. Passion. Never be afraid to fail. Fail as many times as you want, as you can. Fail as much time, and then yeah, as long as you have the urge to improve, to learn from it, you will always become better.
I see. Okay. I mean, I am not a fashion student, but then I'm hearing about the connection between fashion and racing and everything.
Yeah.
This is really interesting. And Senna, this has been such an insightful and energizing conversation. So thank you for giving us a peek behind the curtain into what it really likes to build a
Yeah.
racing career and all the opportunities that you build also. So this will be our end of our podcast, and once again thank you so much
No
for
worries.
being
Thank
here.
you so much.
So guys, don't forget to subscribe
And like.
and comment down below. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
See
so much.
you.
Bye bye.